In this video, I'm conducting an interview with Bill Shea of Legacy Boards. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below and what you'd like to see in future videos so I can work on that. My book, Backgammon, Backgame Strategies, is available. There's a link in the description to where you can get it. If you're interested in lessons, please contact me via email. My email is in the description. Again, in this video, it's my pleasure to have my friend Bill Shea of Legacy Boards. Thank you for joining me and welcome.
Alex, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. How are you doing today?
Really a little colder than I'd like to be, but other than that, just fine. Doing great.
Yeah, where are you joining us from?
I'm in just outside of Asheville, North Carolina, western part of the state in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains.
Very nice. And it's a little cold there this time of
Oh,
year?
we've had last week or so, we've had more than a foot of snow, which is unusual, but it comes and goes very quickly. But yeah, we were down in single digits. So where we met, the last time I saw you was in LA. It was a whole lot nicer there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm used to the warm weather. I can't I can't
I'm
live in
sure.
those cold weather environments. It's tough, but I know a lot of people that do. So wonderful. Happy to have you. We're going to talk a lot about backgammon and your boards. I'd like to start with a little biographical information, if I may. Where are you from originally?
Well, Alex, originally born and raised just outside of New York. I moved here in 1991 to escape New York, but wound up raising four beautiful boys here in North Carolina, and they've all moved off except for one. That's where I got my start, was in New York, and love being in North Carolina.
Very good. So you've been there for some time now,
Yeah.
and I know we're going to be talking about the legacy boards, but what kind of work do you do outside of that, or is that your primary thing right now?
That's our primary thing. We had an unusual opportunity. I've been in sales and marketing my entire career. I actually was with Southern Living magazine in New York City and left the magazine and New York City to move south. But uh, I was my last job working for somebody else. I was a fleet truck manager, so I sold trucks to companies. And when COVID hit, like everything else, it stopped dead, and people were trying to sell me trucks rather than me trying to sell them trucks. My wife, who works side by side with me in the business, her hospital system closed departments kind of wholesale. She was caught up in that, so we found ourselves with an opportunity, and she really encouraged us. Carrie did, to let's go ahead and take the opportunity and turn this into a business. So that's what we've been doing for the last two and a half years.
That's great, fantastic. How did you get into backgammon originally?
The game or the making the boards?
Well, both. Start with the game.
Yeah. So my mother was a bridge player, and backgammon players will know that reference. So everyone watching will probably know that. My mom taught all of us to play. I'm one of five siblings, and we played. I'll say this: I've been playing, according to Candace Mayron, I've been playing heads up backgammon for 45 years, meaning very casual backgammon. But we all play. We combined have 17 kids, my siblings and I.
Wow.
All of them play, which is really exciting to me. And I know to guys like you who are, and by the way, thank you for what you do, and Candace and Bill Riles and all the other folks that run these clubs, because that promotes the game. And as I tell folks all the time, teach your kids. Teach your kids to play backgammon. It's easy. I always say it's as easy as checkers and can be as complex as chess, but your kids will be glad you did, right? So mom taught us, we taught our kids. We have an annual family reunion, and we literally have draw sheets for our
Oh
tournament
wow.
there. Yeah, it's really fun. So that's how we got into it. You find people as you go through life that play, and it's a great connection. Yeah, like I
Yeah,
said, your
that's
kids will be glad
fantastic.
you teach them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have recently started an initiative to get more people playing backgammon, and two of the underrepresented demographics have been youth and women. So I've had some youth
Interesting.
on the channel playing some matches. So That's always great. I sometimes ask people, how to get more youth, but teaching your children is a fantastic way. And what was the other thing you mentioned about bridge? A
Yes.
lot of people get into backgammon from other games such as chess and bridge. And I don't know if you're familiar with this trivia. There are two players who've played bridge and backgammon and are in the Hall of Fame in both. Do you happen to know who they are?
I'm going to say one is Omar Sharif.
Okay.
Am I close?
Nope.
Because he's always mentioned the New York Times. They show an Omar Sharif bridge
Oh,
play.
maybe. Okay.
Yeah, but outside of that, he's the only famous bridge player I'm familiar with.
So there are two. The first one was Oswald Jacoby,
Ah, okay,
and the second is Kit Woolsey.
okay, wow. And well, it's a very, to me, bridge looks like a card game. And but when you know a bridge player that's good, and I played one of the most humiliating backgammon defeats I was ever involved with was a guy I had neighbor came over to my house. His mother was a grandmaster. He played, but he obviously got a lot of her. He beat me so badly at backgammon, but the way he played was different than anything I'd ever seen. And so that's and when you go to these tournaments, which we'll talk about more in a minute, I'm sure, but as you progress into this game, the complexity is amazing. And you talk about kids. The great thing about kids is they come into this with no bad habits, and just pliable brain power, and they get good really fast. So be ready if you teach them. Be ready to be humbled and stay
Yeah,
up on your game. Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I know you enjoy backgammon. Do you have any other interests and hobbies outside of backgammon other than bridge, as you mentioned?
Well, I raised four boys, and that was a big hobby in and of itself. I've played a lot of sports, some unusual ones, but golf. I played squash quite a bit. I was a hockey player in college. We are so my wife and I meet. We are in West North Carolina. Great kayaking, great hiking. She's more of a hiker than I am. I'm trying to keep up with her. And we're beginning to do a lot of travel, which is kind of fun. Kids are all, late 20s and 30s. So, uh, you know, it's the two of us and we get to really go have fun. It's kind of cool at 63. I'm older than you are, Alex, by quite a bit, but to be able to have a lot of fun, particularly with your occupation, which we just have a ball doing this. This is like a dream come true to be able to have a hobby that, we can turn into a business.
Yeah, it's always nice when you enjoy your work. What do they say? If you enjoy what you do, you'll never need a day off in your life or something like that.
Yeah, you'll
Uh,
never work a day in your life, right?
You'll never work a day in your life. Yeah.
Right.
So that's fantastic. And I first had the privilege of meeting you at the recent tournament in Los Angeles, where you brought some of your boards and
Yes.
you started this company. You call them Legacy Boards. And to me, I have some backgammon boards, but this is a completely different level. I see these boards as not just boards, but they're also like furniture and pieces of art almost. It's like things that can be in a museum. Tell us about the legacy boards and kind of how you started, and then we'll take a look at some of them.
Great. Well, by the way, that's a great introduction. I so appreciate that. It's a funny little anecdote. I was up in New York visiting a buddy of mine, an old friend of mine, right after Hurricane Sandy, and I'm dwelling on this for a particular reason. But Hurricane Sandy went through the Northeast and tore the place up. In Long Island, it's loaded with old hardwood trees, and lots of trees got beat up during Sandy. So he was out one morning, we grabbed a cup of coffee, cutting up trees, and he said, "Hey, you ought to take some of these back with you, and you should build a backgammon board out of a tree." He said it differently than I heard it, Alex. So what I heard was, and people are familiar with bar tops, uh, live edge bar tops and live edge tables. It's a pretty big uh, part of home decor now, particularly out west. That wood is referred to as a slab. So it's a cross section of a tree. They either cut them horizontally, which is would be a round,
Hmm.
and that's called a cookie. And then the vertical cut is a slab, which is we use both, but primarily we use slabs, and that's where you get the live edge of the tree. Um, so that is actually one of the things that sets us apart from anybody else. I can say this safely on the planet. We're the only one making live edge slab backgammon tables and boards today. And also, it's what got us into really making them. I had go a step back. The real genesis of making them was I had a backgammon board I was given in high school that was this big, basically a little travel board, size of a paperback book. And my boys and I, as they were growing up, we one Saturday, crummy, rainy Saturday, sitting around playing on this board, and they could barely get to the checkers. And I said, you know what? Stop! It's a terrible rainy day. Let's go to the hardware store. We'll buy some wood, and we'll make a big one that we can play on. And first effort, it was horrible. So we trashed that one. I took a second run at it, but this time I got leather. I had learned from a couple of mistakes, only a couple at that point. And my wife and I still play on that board today. So that one made the cut. And then it occurred to me, it'd be a really cool thing. So all my boys play. If I could make them each a folding travel board, that really the only special aspect of it is that Dad made it for me. So I made three of those. They're terribly difficult to make. And then the fourth one I made out of a slab. So they each still have their boards. My oldest boy got the slab. And that was the first live edge backgammon board I made. But the idea of giving each of my boys one of these that they could play on and have for a long time is where the idea of the legacy came from. I wanted them to have something they enjoyed to play that Dad made them. So and then the idea that what a great thing to A, teach your kids, and B, pass on to your kids is a great legacy. So that's where the name came from. I spend a minute on that because I think it's, as you point out, it's so important. This 5,000-year-old game gets promoted and carried on, and it is. I think it's with the help of folks like you and Candace and Bill Riles and Ross up in Connecticut that it will grow and get promoted. So this, as I mentioned, there's a couple of things that sets us apart. The first is our use of slabs. When you take a piece of wood like this, it's not processed at all. It's raw wood that is as it goes through a process I'll mention in a moment. It is wholly unique to itself. So in that very factor, I can't make two that are the same. It's
They're
not possible.
unique, right?
Every single one is one of a kind. And then I believe in, I'm not, I may be mainstream in this thought. I like when you roll the dice to have a quiet roll. Some like I call it click clack of the dice rolling on hardwood, and the
Right.
marquetry and parquetry is a skill and a science that I don't know. So the folks that do that know something that I will never know. And we do something that's unique to them, and that is all of our boards have a recessed playing surface that's leather. So those two elements put us in a segment inside the people that make backgammon boards. There's a handful of both.
Right. I have a couple of questions, maybe a question and a comment. For those that are
Yes,
not familiar with live edge, does that refer
yes,
to the external portion of the bark of the tree, or what is that?
that's exactly right. So yes, if you literally look at a tree, and a lot of our wood has the bark on two sides of it.
Huh.
That's this part of the tree that's cut vertically. And so what you wind up with is a clean cut on the top and the bottom, and then the live
Aha.
outside edge of the tree.
So we'll see that in some of the images. That's great.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
the other thing is, unlike traditional boards like the ones I own, you fold them up and you carry them with you. Your boards are all open or tabletop. They're not designed for transport, right? For the most
No,
part.
that's exactly right. They are really designed for. So I started with tables, and actually I've now learned that we kind of have a signature product, Alex, and that's a coffee table board, which it's kind of funny, but then we had kind of realizations that if let's say you wanted to buy a gift for your wife or for friends, more likely that it'd be great to get them this table. Well, it's hard to buy somebody a piece of furniture for their
Right.
home. So the idea was a tabletop board has all the attributes. It's more portable inside the house, and it's an easier gift to give. It also comes at a lower price point, and right, can be moved around the house. So, but but to the extent that you would travel, now my sister and her husband travel with theirs, but but yes, you're quite right. A folding board's much more a roll up or much more travel friendly. Ours are not really travel friendly.
Right. And the nice thing about it, like being a piece of furniture, you can customize it. We'll discuss that and make it
Yeah.
like the colors that match your interior decor and furniture and things like that. I feel
Yes.
like this would be a good time to take a look at some of the things on your website. I will put a link uh, of your website in the description so people can look at it. But I wanted to share this. Are you able to see the website now?
Yep. I'm seeing it.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so I wanted to go through a few things. The biggest thing I wanted to do is show people some of these images because this is very unique and very beautiful. It's not something people see every day. So I'll just kind of scroll through some of the pictures and maybe you can discuss it. Is this what you were talking about, the live edge, or what is this?
Yeah. So if you look at that's considered, and if you turn that table up on its end, that would be considered an outside cut on the tree because you see the angle of the side is very sharp. It's a
Right
sharp
here.
angle. Yeah, it's exactly right. So that's as the tree is coming to its, you know, in the circle, right? That's the circumference of the vertical trunk of the tree.
Right.
And so that piece, all of our woods, all of our pieces start with live edge wood. Some we finish. So, and you'll see examples of that, but that is considered a live edge table. Yes, sir.
And this is a beautiful surface. What is that a leather surface or?
It is. So that was a custom piece of some folks came in from they're down from Florida, came into our shop. They saw that piece of wood that was on the table. We were doing an inventory piece, and he said, "No, I want this piece of wood, and I want crocodile and these colors." And I'll tell you, I had so much fun with that because that's called what lurks beneath. Um, but the idea of the crocodile kind of lurking under playing surface,
Nice,
right? And then
nice. So
in that
these are
fun,
all completely customizable, right?
well, so take us just while you're looking at that image, where you can scroll again. But what's so interesting about backgammon are all the elements of the game. So we have the leather, the checkers, the dice, and the doubling cube, and the dice cups that we can toy with and tinker with the colors and the textures and the right and there's so much to choose from that we get lost in it. We have so much have so much fun pulling these elements together and then coupling that with the tones and textures and colors in the wood. It it's for us it comes easy because we are so enamored of the wood itself. And what's notable is that our each table starts with the wood selection. So the wood is going to determine the size of the playing surface. It's going to determine whether or not it's a table or a tabletop based on weight and size. And then sometimes, as you mentioned, like that one there, we've actually taken to finishing off the edges and kind of accidentally found that it shows the grains of the wood off beautifully when we do that. Oftentimes the bark is beautiful. We leave that or the edge. But then when we clean one up or finish one off like this, the uh, the wood is really shown off. In this particular case, this was totally new to us. We lacquered this piece. It was a specific request. That was a 100% custom piece. And can you lacquer it? So we've gotten into that, which is more in the contemporary realm of
Nice.
home decor.
This is the board is on top of a wood table. Is that right?
That is a tabletop. Yeah, and you would sit that on top of a table. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very beautiful. I think like for me, this is the kind of surface that is a little easy for me to see, which is nice to play on. It's hard for me to play on like some of the other surfaces, like this one's good. I feel like it might be hard to play because I mean, like on this one, you see on one side there's like that flat edge, but on the other side it's the what is that the live edge,
That's the live edge.
which makes
Yep.
it a little harder to reach.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I think these are like beautiful like pieces of furniture. And I know some of them you can put like a glass or plexiglass on top so you can use it as a regular table, right?
Exactly right. That's exactly why we did that, was to give the table a little more versatility. Yep. And sometimes, and you'll pass one as you scroll through this, sometimes the glass is actually a really beautiful element of the table. We accidentally found. So those are kind of neat things to discover, how all those components come together.
Like this. This one's beautiful. What's the surface on this?
So that's leather. That's referred to as a hair-on hide. And that literally is, in its processing, they simply left the natural hair from the animal on the hide.
Wow. So this is one of those ones that I think it's like a work of art. It would be hard for me to play on it just
Yeah.
because it's hard to see everything, but it's
And,
it's
and
beautiful.
well, and thank you. And there's some out. I've heard this. That's a very good point, and we take that to heart. Uh, I've heard that some players. I heard this in California and Connecticut. With some boards out there, they say, "Wow, that would be distracting to play on." To your point, and yeah, some very often the folks that we're making these for are a little less concerned about the intense, very competitive play than they are about, I want something really cool and different.
Yeah, this would be something like in a museum or in your home, just like something that's beautiful to look at. And you can make, so do you make the checkers and the dice and the doubling cubes and things like that, the accessories, or that's
Well,
separate?
that's separate, and I'll share this with you that you learn stuff as you age. One is that stick to what you're good at, and we have found sources for our checkers and dice and doubling cubes. We've actually tried to make them, and it's such a veering off course of an effort, and being able to get really good ones and heavy, good weight and good quality, well sized pieces is more important than us, making them all ourselves or individually. So we actually buy those. We also have our table bases are custom made for us. They're from forged steel. Now you're looking at one right there that's actually one of the only ones we do that are wood bases, but it's to come. That was a challenge by an interior designer in the Hamptons who said, "Can you make one like this?" And I literally said, he's one of the largest interior designers in the Hamptons, New York. And I said, "No, I don't do that." And Carrie and I were driving home, and I said, I've spent 40 years in sales. And in my career, if anybody said to me, "Can I buy this from you?" If I said no, I'd have lost my job that moment. I just told this guy no. I should at least give it a try. So that was the first run at it, and it luckily it came out great. It's actually
Beautiful.
that line is referred to as, we call that our legends line, because Alex, I was so proud of myself. I was a legend in my own mind, but it actually came out. So we offer that line too. That one, it's pretty remarkable. That's got 75 different cuts of wood in it, and that's before I get to the leather, which is, I think I'm north of 70 cuts of leather for that too. It's an incredible process, but we're very proud of the outcome of that.
Yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. How long does it take to produce one of these? So let's say like I place an order today. How long does it take you to get to the final product?
Great question. And if you don't mind, and this is a yes or no, I'll go through sort of the process. So
Please.
what we start with a very unique style of wood. If I used processed wood, or what they refer to as dimensional wood, 2x4s, that's stuff you buy at Home Depot. That's dimensional lumber. That's easy to buy. You can go to a hardware store and buy it all. This is a little harder because you want to be sure that the wood you're buying, which has been literally cut down and harvested, it does not go through any processing, that it's dried carefully. And the drying of a piece of wood like that one right there can take up to 2 years to air dry, because it's got to be dried slowly and carefully. The quicker you dry it, the more you risk the decomposition of the wood. And then the wood we use goes into a kiln to finish off the drying process and to get, this is a little creepy, folks, most folks don't want to hear this, but to get rid of any mold or any bugs that might be in that wood. But it's an important process for those two reasons. Once we source our wood, and we have a couple of very good suppliers that we rely on for that, we take it back. We begin to finish the wood itself, which is a long process. Often we have to flatten the wood completely, oftentimes. Then the sanding. I mentioned earlier, we recess our playing surface, and that is, I'm going now about 1.125 inches down. So when I put my leather in, I'm about 1 inch deep.
Like in this one.
That, and like in that one, and that contains the dice, right? Like a craps table. And once we recess it, then we start to finish the wood. This is pretty time consuming, because I put 3 layers of urethane on the underside, and that's 24 hours per coat. And then I do 5 coats of urethane on the top, which may be overkill, but this is an interactive piece of furniture. If you're going to play on it, it's going to get wear and tear. So I like to have that protection on the top. Once I have the finishing done, goes back to I like a quiet game. When the dice roll, I put a layer of cork onto the playing surface,
Hmm.
and then a layer, it's called buckram, is a sort of a cheesecloth fabric, which I apply my playing surface to, the leather pieces. And right in that picture there, you've got 24 different points, the 2 playing surface cuts, so I'm 26, 8 pieces that make up the sides, and then 10 pieces that make up the chip cups. So all of those are individually cut,
Ah.
uh, prepared. The leather is it's skived. It's a process I won't bore folks with, but leather's rolled at the top, gives you a good clean edge.
And the points are inlaid?
They're all inlaid, yes,
Wow.
all hand inlaid. And so we then apply that to the buckram, and it goes on top of the cork. So we've got 3 layers before you get to the wood, and that kind of insulates the sound. Once we're there, uh, if it's a table, I'm now in a supply chain issue where I'm waiting for the table base. It's not really the answer to your question, but it can be when folks are ordering a table that where I've made a custom base for it, because the base can take us 8 to 12 weeks, because they're literally, we design them and they're made for us specifically for that table. The outcome's remarkable, which is why we go through that. But we generally say we're 6 to 8 weeks for each piece. The tabletops can be a little less, um, but a lot goes into it, as you can tell.
Right, right. I see this one's beautiful. It's placed on top of a coffee table. This is just like beautiful. Really like
That
the colors.
great custom piece that an interior designer in Baltimore actually designed that for herself, which was kind of fun. And I get notes from her all the time how much she enjoys her board.
So on average, it's 6 to 8 weeks, but could be more, could be less, depending on the details and the customization. And these are just like beautiful, and you ship them in the United States, right?
Yes, actually, yes. I don't want to get out over my skis. We haven't shipped overseas yet. Could we? Yes. Different different formula altogether, but we absolutely ship to all 50 states.
Beautiful. These are really, really beautiful. And then this is going to be more of an investment than a traditional board because it's more than just a board. It's like a table, it's a piece of furniture, it's a piece of art. Uh, for people that are interested, what's kind of the range for an investment for one of your boards or tables?
On the tabletop pieces, we try to make it really simple. Tabletop pieces are between 1,400 and 2,000, 2,200, and that's unless we cut. I'm doing one right now for a couple that have a 80 90 foot sport fishing boat, where we're putting an image on the boat of the boat on the board. That changes the price a little bit, as one might understand. And then the tables range anywhere from, we try to keep them, as reasonable as possible, from about 4,000 and up. Again,
Right.
depending on what we're doing and what unique attributes we're giving.
And that's what it would cost for a nice piece of furniture anyway.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I feel like this is not just furniture, but art as well as you're able to play a game on it.
And we try to, we try to accommodate that. Thank you for pointing that out. And the fact that we do very, very happily put glass on, because it does add to the versatility of it and makes it a more what's the word I'm looking for? Versatile piece of furniture for your home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like there were some pictures of one of those. Maybe I'll scroll through this. Did you have some pictures of ones with glass tops on it?
Yeah, you should come to one at least, and I can point to one in, but that one has
Yeah.
glass on it, but
This has glass on it?
it doesn't in that photo.
Oh,
But
but you can put it. Okay.
yeah, and that one actually fits very nicely. If you go to custom tables up at the top, but if you'd
Okay.
like to show one,
Wow, look at that one.
well, go back. So there's glass in it.
This is glass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, two things. One is, to your point earlier, you got to get close to that table, but this is pretty remarkable piece of wood, and this is where the uniqueness of it comes in. That tree was struck by lightning and actually laid down for 12 to 15 years, we think, before it was harvested. But the story that wood tells is remarkable, and the bark on it looked almost molten. But you can see there where we were able to inset the glass.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, it's like a coffee table, but it really like a table without the board in it. Just a table like that is just unbelievable, and it's a very nice piece of furniture. But then when you have the board inside, it's probably not going to play on it. But putting that in there is a very unique touch, and it's like if you had a backgammon museum, this is the first thing I would put in there.
Well, when you get one, call me. You get your museum.
Working on it, working on it.
And that's one of those things that it's, we'll try just about anything, and if it's possible, chances are we'll know. If not, that's the very first one, by the way. That's the one my son owns.
Wow,
Yeah.
beautiful.
But the possibilities are pretty endless when you go back to it. The checkers, the dice, the doubling cube, the colors of the playing surface, the table base, all those things just lend so much to the ability to customize.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you've been doing this for 2, 3 years. How long has it been now?
The first board I made that I mentioned earlier, I made about 10 years ago.
Oh,
But for I made the first one, my son got it. I made a second one, which turned into a table. And when I finished it, Alex, it's kind of like, now what do I don't need it. I don't need a backgammon. I lived in a small house, didn't have room for it. And so what I decided to do was to donate it to a local charity. And that way, hoping it sold, which it did. I'm giving back a little bit. And the second one I finished just in time to donate the next year to the same charity, and that sold beautifully again. And you start to realize, wait, there might be something here. So we've given to it's a neat thing to give to charities, to donate to charities, because again we're giving back a little bit, and they really love it. And that realm of buyer, let's say, really appreciates and enjoys it. So it's kind of a perfect storm for us when we've done that.
Yeah, yeah, these are beautiful. I think this is like the most important thing I wanted to see on your website because these images are just beautiful. It shows the viewers, what kind of remarkable art you do, and the quality and the craftsmanship is really unparalleled. I've never seen boards that look like this. And look at this, you can have a glass of wine. Was there anything else you wanted to go through on the website here? I'm just kind of going through the images.
You're being really generous. You're showing our. Thank you for scrolling through it. I mean, to your point, it shows, it gives you some idea of the versatility one can have when designing their board or table. And it's fun to see that. I don't do this every day, so it's nice to see these, Alex. And through your eyes, it's really fun. I appreciate you doing that and your kind words.
Yeah, my pleasure. Let's see. So I'm going to put a link to the website in the description here. Um, so when they go to the website, what do they do? So they can go to the home and they can see all these things. And then
Yep.
there are the custom tables, and there are some that are available that are already made, right?
Yes. If you click on available tables, you'll get
Yeah.
two boxes. There's our tabletops, and right next to it, obviously tables.
Which
And
one
that
is
shows
more popular right now?
we do very well with the tabletop boards. We
Okay.
we do well with both of them, but the tabletops do very well. Yep.
So these are some of the ones. Beautiful.
And you should see a page two there. I was going to
Oh,
show
is there a
you.
page two?
Maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lied to you. I'm not showing the one there with the glass on. But
Oh, okay.
go ahead
Maybe
and
I'll
get
go to
the
the other one, the tables.
yeah, yep. And it's that first one, top
This
left.
one, the dark and
Yep,
storm.
yep.
Wow.
And then if you scroll that one,
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Oh, so
there
there's
you
the
go with the
glass.
glass on. Yep,
So you could use it as like a table to eat on or dine.
absolutely. And going back to the coffee table idea, uh, I had someone say to me one time, "Coffee tables? Who plays backgammon on a coffee table?" And it was very interesting at that same tournament. This was in California. Uh, you've noticed this when folks sit at the table to play in these matches. A lot of times they'll stack chairs. Have you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So if you see their posture when they stack a couple of chairs on top of each other, it's exactly like playing at a coffee table. So it's kind of a funny thing. And granted, it would be hard to do in a tournament setting like that, but it's the same perspective they're trying to get that our coffee tables give them, which you're really looming over the board. You can see the whole board. A lot of times that's what they want to do is be looking down on the board rather than straight across it. But it kind of lends itself to that.
Wow, wow. So they can contact you here. They go here and they just like contact you and
Yep.
they can email you and kind of go from there. And there's a lot of information on this. This is beautiful. And I think this is an outstanding way to kind of get people to learn about your boards. It's not only a game. Of course, everyone loves the game, but it's really like art and furniture combined with the game. Uh, what was it that got you to start doing this as opposed to maybe just making boards or just doing furniture or just doing something else?
It really was the love of the game. I played very casually, as I mentioned, for 40, 45 years. Backgammon's pretty big in Long Island. You probably know this. It's big in the Northeast. It's big in Florida because the Northeast moves to Florida. Um, so I kind of accidentally started making boards. And when I had this idea of marrying the live edge wood and the way I saw it in my head was here you take this wild, unpredictable, asymmetrical piece of wood and you put this very geometric formed playing surface on it. And what a great juxtaposition that is. What a contradiction of terms, but the result was like, wow, this is really crazy beautiful to take these natural elements and combine them. So that's what got us into it. And when you with any hobby, when it bites you, it bites you hard. And we when I found the outlet to be able to donate them and have them do good for a charity or for a community, I literally said, "Great, I get to make another one." So it's that's what keeps us coming back is the enjoyment we get out of making them.
Well, that's fantastic. It's just been a pleasure looking at these and discussing it with you. And you said you've donated a few to some of the tournaments, so that's
Yes.
fantastic. It's very generous of you. You have the upcoming Texas tournament you're gonna be at, or you're donating one, or what did you do?
Both. I'll be in San Antonio next Wednesday with Bill Riles, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to say this again. What you do, Alex, what Bill and Candace and Lynn up in New York and folks like that do, I really value it because the game is it's important. It's been around a long time. It's so easy. I tell folks it is such an easy game to learn. And there's so many resources today for folks to learn. Here we are in Asheville, North Carolina, which has a lot of um, transients. A lot of people move in from other places to Asheville. There's a club here. And what's surprising is not Backgammon is not big here. The, the club has some good players in it. And so folks that are looking to learn backgammon, right, in terms of, I'd love to see people say, well, I'll get a board or I'll get a table to learn. Great, learn quick, learn, enjoy, and it hooks you. But there's the online resources. I mean, the USBGF, right, is a remarkable organization, and what they do with their online tournaments, it makes it so easy. Backgammon Galaxy, as I mentioned before, is a really easy way to go on and play against other people. Sometimes probably a computer, but my wife plays, Carrie plays XG Gammon on her iPhone,
Yeah.
which actually yeah, I know you're familiar with it. It tells you what you're doing wrong as you're doing it, which is Carrie's game has gone from 0 to 60. I'm telling you, in 6 weeks. It's amazing how much she's learned playing against the computer, which corrects you as you go. So all of these resources, the local clubs, the online capability, the USBGF, which is easy to join and a great value. Join them, go online, play, right? It's easy, fun. As people age, it's great for mental acuity. The last photograph I have of my mother is me and my mother playing backgammon sitting on her bed. And
Wow.
that she died that week. And she was sharp as a tack to the end because she played bridge, she played backgammon. It's great for your mind too.
Yeah.
So I love what you do, and please keep doing it. Um, you know, it is enormously valuable to us that you had us on your podcast. So thank you for that.
Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. And I always like to express my gratitude and appreciation for my guests, such as you and others, of course, for everything that you do. I always tell the guests, usually I meet them virtually on this type of call, but with you, I had the privilege of meeting you in person first.
Oh, it was
And to
great. Yes.
tell people I hope to meet them in person. I already had that opportunity with you. And I hope to see you again at upcoming tournaments. Really, really appreciate it. It's just very unique. That there are many board manufacturers that make boards, but this is on a completely different level. I'd like to have more board manufacturers come do interviews with me, but it's really an honor to have you as the first one. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you. Do you have any other comments or things you'd like to mention before we conclude?
I will definitely see you in LA. We both know Candace,
Yes.
and we've already had the conversation that I will be expected back next year. And I have been really impressed coming into this community. I'm brand new in the tournament play community, which you're very versed in, and I will become more versed at how uh, welcoming and open everyone in these communities. Steve Sachs, who you know, I won't tell you what he did because he'd probably be angry if I told. But I watched a match he played, and he did something that blew my mind. And I saw him later on in the lobby. And I went up to him. I've never met this man before, arguably one of the top players in the world. And I went up and I said, introduced myself. I said, "You made a play in the last game. I've never seen that before." And this guy doesn't know me from Adam's house cat. And he took about 10 minutes to explain to me why he made the play. And I walked away from that thinking, this is a remarkable community. They want people in. They want people to come in. And again, I point to you and the efforts you make. It's valuable. It means a lot. So thank you again.
Yeah, my pleasure. I feel like backgammon it can be a competitive game, but it's also a social game, and it brings people together like you and all the other people in North Carolina, your mother, your children, your whole
Yes.
family, and even groups of people. I can't tell you how many people I've met by making these videos around the country and all over the world that I would never have otherwise had the opportunity of meeting. So it's fantastic. So wonderful. I really appreciate your time, Bill Shea of Legacy Boards. I'll put a link in the description in the video so people can go directly to your website and learn more. I appreciate everything you do, all the donations that you make, and even showing up to the tournaments. Hopefully this will be up before the Texas tournament so that we can actually have people know about you. I'm happy to have had you, and you're welcome to come back if you want to discuss anything more related to backgammon. At this time, we'll go ahead and conclude the video. Thank you again to Bill Shea. I appreciate your time. Thank you to the viewers for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, what you'd like to see in future videos, so I can work on that. Again, my book, Backgammon, Backgame Strategies, is available. There's a link in the description to where you can get it. And if you're interested in lessons, please contact me via email. My email address will be in the description. I look forward to seeing everyone in future videos. And until then, keep rolling your dice.